What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. In this video, what I want to do is talk about a possible matchup between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez for a fifth time. Now, as you guys know, Bob, Greedy, Arum, and Top Rank, they're going to do whatever to milk this series of fights. You can't even say trilogy because it's more than three. Um, but basically, I see Bob Arum doing anything in his power to milk every red cent from these two names in the sport. Um, they've gave us exciting bouts and exciting matchups, highly controversial, and then this is a shocking upset. It's not shocking in terms of to me, every both fighter in each fight had the opportunity to win. It's shocking just because he's never been knocked out by Pacquiao, or excuse me, Marquez has never knocked him down, let alone knocked him out. So honestly, no one could say that they knew this was coming within the sixth round. The Pacquiao would be face down, KO'd out cold. So, like I said, me personally, I don't want to see it. I'm a boxing fan first, so if it were to happen, I would watch it just because, I mean, they give everything that they have when these two fight, and usually it's fireworks when they meet up. But I just feel at this point, what is the point? I thought the first fight was it ended in a draw. That was highly controversial because there was a scoring error made by one of the judges, and Marquez got knocked down three times, but pretty much won many of the other rounds. The second one was controversial. There was a knockdown in that. A lot of people still thought Marquez won. And in the third fight, I definitely think Marquez won that one. Pacquiao didn't look that strong. He didn't look the same like he did in the first two against him. But depending on who you are and how you score it, some people thought Marquez won all three. Some people think he didn't win any of them except for the very last one. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it's what's the point? I thought the whole purpose was for the fourth fight was to the end all be all, to eliminate all doubts. That's exactly what Pacquiao was saying on First Take and during the on the road and the press conferences. He's like, "Oh, I want to end all doubts, and I got to be more aggressive and rid the critics." And the whole purpose of the fourth matchup was to silence all the critics and prove who's the better man. That night, the better man won. Marquez, he knocked Pacquiao out. It's like the end. To me, it should be case closed. It should be the end of chapters. Realistically, the people who want to see this fight the most are Pacquiao fans. They want to give Pacquiao a chance to redeem himself and all kinds of stuff because most Marquez fans felt he got robbed in possibly all or some of the first three fights, and then in the fourth fight he knocks him out cold. They're in the discussion. There is no questioning a decision or there's no controversy. He got knocked out. Um, so I think, in my opinion, most Marquez, because I'm a Marquez fan and I wanted him to win, um, most people have received the vindication or the redemption from the previous fight. So again, most of the fans that I hear talking about they want a rematch are mostly Pacquiao fans who want to give him a chance to redeem himself and to see what happens in the fifth fight. Like I said, I'm not really too fond of it. I feel Marquez is already a legend. He's definitely a Mexican boxing legend. Um, and I feel like we should just close this chapter in the book. The fourth fight was supposed to be the end of this epic series, and now it's just getting to the point where it's going to be like the Saw movies. Like, damn, they made another one like Saw 10, and I don't know. As this, I just I have a hard time believing that it's going to keep getting better and better. Like most things lose their luster, like the Saw movies. If you watch the first one, then you're like, oh, that was cool. Then you watch the second one, and then you get to the sixth one, you're like, this is not as good as the first one. Um, the fourth fight, however, was shocking just because of how it ended. But I mean, how many times are they going to be able to recreate this magic before like natural age and attrition catches up to Marquez because he's the older man? Um, it's just like, what's the point? Like I said, I feel Marquez has already done what he needed to do in the sport. Um, so he to me he's already a legend. He can retire right now and his legacy is sealed. He's already done what he we could do. He knocked Pacquiao out, who hadn't been knocked out in several years, and Pacquiao's done what he's done for the sport. They gave us some epic fights. So me personally, I'm not too fond of it. And if they are to fight again, I would rather see a fresh face fight someone that they haven't fought. They were talking about possibly Marquez and Brandon Rios, or Adrian Broner said he wants a shot at Marquez. Um, I'd rather see either one of those guys fight Broner or Marquez. You know what I mean? The old dogs versus the up and coming fresher faces. Just because it's something different. And how many times do we have to see the same thing? As far as Pacquiao, I think Pacquiao's pretty much done. I'm not saying he won't have a fan base or he can't collect paychecks in the sport or beat anybody, because there's still plenty of people he can beat. Like I think he could beat like a Paulie Malignaggi, Ricky Hatton if Ricky Hatton unretires again or whatever. There's people he can beat, but as far as him establishing himself, as he was pretty much number two on a lot of people's pound for pound list. Some people even had him at one, just depending on the critic. I don't really see him getting back to that level, because who is he going to beat? And the biggest thing is the way Pacquiao fights. Pacquiao has never been a defensive fighter, and it looks like over the years, all the wars he's been in, he's slowed down some naturally. Maybe he's had some distractions outside of boxing, or maybe his heart's not in boxing, but for whatever reason, it looks like he has slowed down. He hasn't knocked anyone out since 2009. His training doesn't look like he takes it as seriously. He looked like he was in great shape for this fight, but if you watch the Marquez fight part 3 or the Bradley fight, that didn't look like the cut up Pacquiao that we're used to seeing. And one of the bigger things with why I don't really want to see this fight, and don't see Pacquiao reinventing himself, is just like statistically, there's some fighters that have been able to do it. You got Joe Louis, Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, the Klitschko's. They've been able to face defeat in crucial knockouts and go back to being pretty much dominant in the sport, or a feared fighter in the sport. However, it's just, to me, it's a different ballgame. Like, these guys are heavyweights, and in the heavyweight world, one punch can really, truly change everything. I'm not saying no one else in lower weight classes has one punch knockout power, but some of those people, like Lennox Lewis, he lost to Rockman. He didn't take training serious, and he got hit with a clean flush shot, and he went down. It really can happen in the heavyweight division. I mean, it happened in the Pacquiao Marquez 4, but in the lower weight divisions, you don't see it as much as you see it in the heavyweight division, like those crucial one punch knockouts. And just the way Pacquiao fights, I don't see him, like, his body being able to compete at a high level, lacking defense, and he's already been humanized, in my opinion, by losing. This knockout in that fashion just goes to show any boxer that Pacquiao is human. Like, I knew he was human to begin with, but it just like reaffirms that he can be defeated. He has a granite chin, but he can be knocked out and can be cracked. And a lot of fighters, I could probably think of more fighters who've faced devastating knockouts and didn't recover and come back successfully. Roy Jones Jr., prime example. After the Tarver defeat, never the same. Paul Williams, after Sergio Martinez cracked his jaw and knocked him out, he wasn't the same Paul Punisher Williams. I don't care what anybody says. His fight with Laura, he did not look the same after Sergio. And unfortunately, that's a lot of fighters, and they get into that. And you could say examples like, oh, Sergio Martinez, he got knocked out by Margarito, and then he went on to reinvent himself and become a threat in top, like, pound for pound list. But his circumstance, to me, is a little bit different, because Sergio Martinez, he played soccer in Argentina, and he didn't even pick up boxing until he was like 20 to 22-ish. And he picked up boxing, and he fought Antonio Margarito, who's always been a fighter, who's fought way longer, and he got caught, and that was his 16th or 17th fight. So he learned at a young age. I mean, he tasted defeat at a young age. So it's a little bit different. You can bounce back from it at a younger age, I would say. And again, that was only his 16th or 17th professional fight when Margarito TKO'd Sergio Martinez. So he was able to recover from that. Pacquiao, he's on, I forgot the exact number, but he has like 60 fights. So his situation is a little bit different. And again, his defense and the way he fights, the style he fights, his age, those things are going to come into play for Pacquiao, and I honestly believe that. Um, Pacquiao is the type of person, like if he's gun shy, then he's no longer Pacquiao. Like if this knockout is created a complex where he's like more hesitant than he was, then he's no longer Pacquiao. Pacquiao, what made him a good fighter, what made him feared, was his power, his speed, his ability to hit you from angles, his footwork, and those are the things that made him like dominant in the lower divisions. But if you take that away from him and he's gun shy, he doesn't have the technical abilities or the style to be a successful fighter if you remove that away from him. It's just like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's a singer, but we also know him as an overall entertainer and performer. You see Michael Jackson dancing. So if Michael Jackson's manager told him, "Hey, stop dancing. Don't for the rest of your career. Don't dance." Then it's not Michael Jackson. If we're used to Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk and gliding on stage and pelvic thrust and doing the kick, and if you strip those things away from him, he's not really Michael Jackson anymore. He's just, you know what I mean? He's like an ordinary singer. So same analogy works for Pacquiao. If Pacquiao's gun shy from this loss and he's not really willing to pull the trigger and be as aggressive as he once was, he's definitely not going to be that big of a threat because he doesn't rely on defense, and that's just how I see it. So I think his fighting style is going to have a hard time bouncing back from such a devastating loss. His age, he's been through wars, he can get hit, he can be hit, and sometimes after people get hit and get that jaw cracked, they don't really mentally or whatever physically really recover from that. Look at Roy Jones Jr., another prime example. So let me know what you guys think. Hate, comment, subscribe. Either way, I'm still getting the views. Until next videos, Ego signing off.